This is a glass of water, and despite the glass, you may recognize it as something that you have at your disposal almost all the time. But did you know that almost 1 billion people worldwide do not have access to clean drinking water? So why is that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts. Today we will be discussing poverty. So you're probably aware of what the gist of the word poverty means. Not having enough money to support yourself or potentially your family, simply living in unfortunate circumstances. But did you know that there are several types of poverty, each of which can be caused by millions of different factors? Some of these circumstances can include failure to get a job, lack of education, climate change, warfare, mental health, natural disasters. What I'm trying to get at here is there are countless factors that contribute to mass poverty, and also it is rarely someone's choice to live in poverty. As for your different types of poverty, first and foremost, we have what's known as absolute poverty. This is kind of like your textbook definition, if you will. It involves the scarcity of basic human needs, such as food, shelter, water, security. Unfortunately, this is most predominant in third world countries where education is limited, government support is negligible, and most human energy is spent simply trying to survive. Next on the list, we have relative poverty, which is defined from a social perspective. It involves comparing one's social status to the economic standard of a population for a given area. I find this one especially interesting to mention as there's a great example of it in a famous book. You may know it as The Great Gatsby. If you take the character Nick, he by no means is struggling to find water, food, shelter, or security. However, he is quite literally sandwiched between two mansions in his little house. So that being said, if you compare his social status to that of Tom or Gatsby, for example, it is quite different and makes him look like you said, Miss Schofield, a fish out of water. Other types of poverty include situational poverty, generational poverty, rural poverty, and urban poverty, many of which we actually see here in Southern Ontario, especially urban poverty, which brings me to my next point, homelessness. Homelessness has been a massive issue here in North America for decades. It is caused by several external factors such as limited access to health and education, inadequate housing and services, violent environments, and little social protection. They go hand in hand with direct causes that happen to individuals such as unemployment, mental illness, lack of needed services, and substance abuse. Now, I'd like to touch base a little more on the topic of substance abuse. It is best looked at as a disease, as a lot of individuals who, given unfortunate circumstances, will resort to hard drugs as a coping mechanism and attempt to self-medicate based on past traumas, mental illness, general hardship that they encounter, and unfortunately, it is the ultimate recipe for severe poverty or even homelessness. And it is also the reason why substance abuse is so common among the homeless population. Now, the moral of the story here, and what I'd like everyone to take away, is do not judge anybody based on their social status, their income, their parents' income, or really anything materialistic. After all, that's not what makes us human, and that being said, there is no amount of money that will make you a good person. That all comes from within. Well, thank you for listening. Back to Future Alex.